Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, it's interesting how things are brought to us in the legislature, and I've experienced a lot of different things, and from time to time I'll have a student that comes to me and actually has an idea. And this bill actually comes from a student from SUU. She is actually an intern for Representative Gibson. Is Mackenzie here? Okay, she's on her way. Mackenzie Manis she's a student at SUU. She is an intern right now for Representative Francis Gibson. Interestingly enough, you know, when she became an intern, it took away for the opportunity for her to speak to you. But I do want to give her recognition, you know, that she did bring the idea to me. And so during the summer, you know, she participated in a mock Senate with university students, and she participated in that and put together a piece of legislation that she pushed through that body. And she came to me with the idea. And, you know, and I talked to her about it, and I think that there's some worthy goals here, but I think that we need, and oftentimes in the legislature, in a conservative legislature, we need to take steps. And so this resolution is something that can move toward that and encouraging. So in many areas, you know, we're pretty fortunate. You know, Representative Ipsen or Senator Ipsen and I, you know, we live in southern Utah, and we grew up in Panguitch and Beaver and places like that where you can just walk out your back door and look at the sky. And, you know, Senator Hinkins, I'm sure it's the same in your area. And maybe so.
Today, that's probably true.
Yeah. But in a lot of places, that's not the case. And, you know, it's interesting, too, as we've seen in Cedar City, you know, we've seen growth on the mountain and adjacent to the town. And as those homes are built and the lights light up, you know, that sky, that vision of that sky has kind of gone away. And so the thought is that if we could encourage, especially government agencies and businesses, as they change out lights, to consider using a shielded light. You know, shields the light going down and it's not going up, and so it diffuses and allows for more visibility into that in that area. Now, the parks, and I have a representative from the state parks with me today, and I'd like to turn some time to her. And she is, you know, she's going to tell you that we have, is it 8? 8 of our
We
parks?
have 10 international dark sky parks in Utah. We lead the world.
And I apologize, Mr. Chair. I should have passed these out earlier. If it's with your permission, I'd like to pass these out.
Yes, you can do that.
And this is from the state parks, and you know they've found, and I'll let her speak to the value of that. And it's interesting because obviously there's an intrinsic value, the comfort that allows you to look at a sky, you know, a bright sky, but also there's some economic value to that as well. So.
Oh, thank you, Chair and committee members, for allowing me to speak. My name is Justina Parsons-Bernstein, and I'm with Utah State Parks. One of my jobs is to coordinate the Dark Sky Initiative for Utah State Parks. There are 4 state parks that are international dark sky parks. You may have seen the announcement that just last week, Steinecker State Park has just achieved that honor and designation. Some things that we don't think about when we think about directing our light, having shielded lights, and I will say that for the Utah State Park system, this is a self-selecting. The managers of the state parks who want to pursue this are the ones that are pursuing it. It's not a top-down imposition. So there are many managers around the state park system, especially in our rural parks, who have opted to do shielded lighting, and they also look at their lumens and their kelvins in their bulbs, and they have found it to be a benefit to their visitor enjoyment, to the wildlife that's there, and also to their revenue stream, because Utah is becoming a destination for astrotourism. And Fred Hayes, our director, likes to joke that he thinks that means a rocket trip. But no, it just means coming and being able to look at stars. And it is so profoundly moving when you have people that are coming from around the world who are seeing in front of you the Milky Way for the first time. And the oohs and the ahs, and just how I've actually had said to me, I've never felt a part of this cosmos before, and now I'm feeling that we're a part of it. It's really, really great. And Utah parks are becoming the place, the destinations for people to come. And it's been a very beneficial thing for our bottom line, for a revenue stream, as we get more and more tourists that are interested in coming. And it's also a rural economy builder. I mean, it's something that doesn't depend on water year. All it depends, and the cool thing about adopting shielded lighting is light pollution is a pollution that is easily reversible. We only need to light where we need it, when we need it. It's not saying not to light. It's saying, direct the light at what we need it. We don't need to light the sky. But so many of our state parks people have adopted this, and we've got about 12 more parks in process that are going through the arduous process of becoming an international dark sky park, and they've found it very beneficial. So
thank you. And just in kind of summation to our presentation, we're not mandating anything. We're certainly not, we're certainly just encouraging people to consider this as they move forward, especially businesses, companies, government agencies, that if they could consider using this type, it's not, and quite frankly, if they do this, it's during a normal maintenance change out, it's not a big expense. And so it's something we just want to encourage in order to shield the light and protect protect the visibility to the skies.
Senator Hinkins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was noticing that there's a $0 amount on the fiscal note, and I was wondering, is it just because it's in the parks budgets, or is it not no impact to the state? Because these are state parks that we're talking about.
So this is a resolution. It's encouraging, but it's not mandating anything. So there's no requirement in any way. There's no regulation. This is something the parks have actually done on their own. And as Justine mentioned, it's by the direction of the individual parks managers and the staff there on those parks, whether
Okay,
they
so they'll
adopt
just
that or not.
absorb that into their ongoing budget.
If they choose to do that,
Right.
and maybe she ought to respond a little bit how that
And
progresses.
oftentimes the fixtures that our parks managers are replacing use much less energy, so they're seeing a cost saving down the line. There's the original investment, but then there's a cost savings down the line. So.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, does that complete your presentation?
It does.
I see no further underlying questions from the committee. I turn it to public for public input. We'll go to you first while she's writing. You state your name.
Great. Hi, my name is Betty Maya Foote, and I am the coordinator for the Colorado Plateau Dark Sky Cooperative. My organization helps promote appreciation of night sky across the Colorado Plateau, which includes half of the state of Utah. I am here to express my support for SCR 002, the concurrent resolution encouraging the use of shielded light fixtures on outdoor lights. And as stated before, there is increasing evidence that people are traveling to Utah from all over the world to experience the dark night skies here. A Missouri State University study suggests a $2 billion impact to local economies from astrotourism in the next decade. This brings money and jobs to rural Utah counties, and it requires only a little voluntary action on the part of Utah residents to keep that money freely flowing. It's important to remember that this resolution doesn't impose anything on anyone. It merely suggests a course of actions for Utahns who are concerned about the issue and offers the tacit support of the legislature if they choose to participate. I think that this is the right approach and respects Utah's values. I urge you to support SCR 002. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. We'll go to you.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Dr. Heidi Hoven, and I work for the National Audubon Society and help manage a bird sanctuary out in Great Salt Lake called the Gilmore Sanctuary. And I'm speaking to you on behalf of Audubon to let you know that Great Salt Lake is a really important place for birds. In fact, millions upon millions of birds come through each year in the spring and the fall. Some choose to stay, and they are attracted to this incredible habitat that we have out there. And birds are impacted by light, which is why I'm here to let you know that this is an incredible opportunity to help the public become aware and try to make a difference to reduce the night glow that you see anytime that you go out at night along the Salt Lake Valley, the Wasatch Front. You can see this glow. When you fly in to the airport, you see this path of just lit, empty parking lots with all these lights that are shining upwards. And so by approving of this resolution in the downward shielded lights, we could substantially reduce this glow, which is actually confusing to the birds in extreme cases, and they navigate, many of them migrate at night and navigate by the stars and other things, but in areas where there's a tremendous amount of light, they will collide into buildings, they will head toward the light and circle around it and fall to their death. So because this is such an important area, Great Salt Lake is actually recognized as a globally important bird area by International BirdLife International and National Audubon Society. We would recommend or ask you to consider supporting this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak to this? Not, we'll close the public comment portion and bring it back to Senator Dayton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would move that we pass first substitute Senate Concurrent Resolution 2 out with a favorable recommendation.
As amended?
As amended.
All right, that's in order. Any discussion to that motion? Back to the sponsor of the resolution.
You know, thank you for considering this, and thank you for taking in the spirit as intended, and thank you for the catch on that, Senator Dayton. I appreciate that very much. And with that, I would waive any further summation.
Senator Dayton.
I'll waive, thank you.
Thank you. Place the motion. All those in favor of Senate Joint Resolution 2, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes and passes unanimously. Thank you, Senator Vickers.
No, thank you.